Well, you can set up systems and processes, but what you're putting your hands on, we call service naturals. There is a personality type that leans towards the service of others, and we can look for that in our interviews. We can put that into our interview process, because there are certain people that you want answering the door. There are certain personalities that do not put that person in front of customers. Just don't do it. It's not their gift.
So now, please welcome the official, non-official, non-sponsor of the Savannah Bananas, but a big fan. Please welcome John Fletcher.
Well, welcome back to 15 on Fridays with Fletch. This interview is so compelling, so strong. Michael Hoffman, Mr. Positively Outrageous Service, has so many great things to tell us.
Service natural is the term that we use for identifying those traits in people that would not hesitate to say, "Oh my gosh, absolutely, I would do that," or to be the type of person that would hear between the lines as to what's needed. Can I give you an example? Because sometimes we think, well, it's Nordstrom's, and so we put the term on Nordstrom's, when in reality, keep in mind that you can be a Nordstrom's too. You can have the reputation of high service. It's not because they charge you $1 million only. It's because they have put in systems and processes. Like you said, this person knew her boundaries. She knew that she had maybe a budget that she could work with, $50, $150, but she knew that there was a boundary within a situation that she didn't have to go up the chain to make a decision for. And she knew that there were things within her realm of influence to bring an experience, like we're going to have somebody drive it out to you, that nobody else does. And in those two things, training your people, what their systems and processes, their boundaries of ownership are, and getting the right people in place, and then teaching them and coaching them and holding them accountable. Write your own ticket, Jack. I'll give you an example of one, because sometimes when we think of Nordstrom's, we think of, well, we have to be a high end dot 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 in order to. No, not at all. My first suit that I ever bought, and I'm old. I am old. I'm an old man, John. And I've been buying suits since I was 16 years old. I bought my first one from Men's Wearhouse, where, George was still, I'm not just a client, or not just owner, I'm also a client. No, that was the hair guy. Different commercial. But anyway, George, from Men's Wearhouse, I bought my first suit, and I had such a great experience. It made me feel so good. I bought most of my suits from this organization almost my entire career. I still have one of the longest relationships on my card from Men's Wearhouse. These suits that I could pay a lot more money for suits. Now, I've bought lots of suits from Nordstrom's, but I will tell you this. I have got so many great stories. One of my favorites is I was going out to Little Rock. I live in Dallas. It's a 6-hour drive. I was going out to Little Rock, and I had realized I was halfway through my journey. And because I was coming from my home and I was driving and I wasn't flying, I didn't pay attention enough. I didn't bring my suitcase. I'm driving with the clothes on my back, and it's at night. It's like 5 or 6 o'clock. I'm not going to be able to turn around and get back without being there. And I start at 9 o'clock in the morning. There's no way. I'm in a pickle. So I'm at a point where I've got to do something. So I'm still a couple hours out, and they haven't closed. So I called Men's Wearhouse in Little Rock. And if you're listening, kids, I'm talking about you. This was a while ago. I called them and told them, here's the situation. Can you help me? I'm not going to get there until you close. I don't know what we can do. I don't even know if this is possible. And I had a young man who was brand new said, I got you, Mr. Hoffman. And he got permission from his assistant manager who stayed. He stayed. He bribed his tailor to stay, who didn't have to stay, so that they could do some quick hemming. And he got out several options. So when I walked in, he had one outfit and 4 options just in case. He gathered all the information. He stayed an hour and a half before I got there. Who knows if I was telling the truth? I was blown away that this young man not only wasn't the owner, or he was brand new, but he was confident enough to get the permission from his assistant manager. He was backed up by his assistant manager. And then he had the chutzpah to talk the person doing the tailoring to stay and just whip me up real quick. I bought them food for a week after that. I bragged, I made videos for them, I did anything I could. It that blew my hair back, and it's Men's Warehouse, and it's just as powerful as a Nordstrom story. It's the same thing. If you care about people and the systems and processes in place, and you've got the right people in place, you can be differentiated. Absolutely.
Positively Outrageous Service has so many great things to tell us. Michael, you worked alongside two service geniuses in Scott Gross and Andrew Szabo. Tell us what you learned from each of them.
Well, I have been a speaker for 30 years on my own. Igniting Performance is the company that I started in 95, back last century. And for the last 30 years, I too have talked about customer experience. And that's why T. Scott and I got along so well, and Andrew, because Andrew Szabo was also a speaker in service. And Scott was the man. He was a legend in our industry, but he was also local and part of our local chapter. So we be of speakers, National Speaker Association, and Scott was very active in the chapter. We knew each other. We were compadres, and as when Scott and I got a chance to share the stage a couple of times in workshops and in keynotes, and in that time we really built a kindred spirit because we had the same philosophy of service, which is what can I do, what can I say to impact the person in front of me. And that's how I know why Scott wrote his book and how he wrote his book. We talked long, long, great talks in hotels around pools after our waiting for our plane. And his philosophies of igniting a human were the same as mine. And so we were kindred spirits. And when he got sick, he contracted Parkinson's, and he he when he started to feel it, he asked me to kind of help out and I started off by adding his books and the many programs he's done and sort of at the back of the room type of sales and just to kind of keep the lights on and to keep the message going. And so we helped each other. And as time went on, another friend of ours who was part of the chapter, Andrew Szabo, who is another just magical person in the industry as far as service is concerned, his approach was he was the service chef. And he put the ingredients together to help people create, service experiences. He and Scott was his mentor in the speaking business. That's how they got to know each other. So Scott and Andrew worked really well together. Either Scott or Andrew was a business owner in his own. You get a mentor the first year you're part of the speakers. So Scott and Andrew became good friends. And then as I started to work with Scott, it was a natural fit. It's like, well, we all sort of do the same things. And as Scott wasn't able to do the stages, Andrew and I helped more and more, and eventually it was a no-brainer to say, well, let's sort of take over and take in, let's jump in with the theme of positively outrageous service and keep it going because it really does sort of it's the epitome of what we're trying to do. And so since then, Scott has passed and Andrew has passed, and what I've learned from them is that service is about love. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's what it is. I will do for you because you are you. That's it. And what Andrew taught me was that there are skill sets that I don't do well. And you find a partner who can do them well and let each other be what they need to be. And it's glorious. Andrew and I were the best of friends. We were also oil and water, and it was amazingly fun. So that's what I've learned from both of them. They were great business partners. They've both passed away, and so I'm at the helm now.
Well, and I remember that you and Andrew do two presentations for the HEB Chamber of Commerce, one
Yeah.
in 2019 before COVID, and then like in 2021 when COVID hit. And you did it, and it was a digital presentation, but y'all talked about how you can take care of your customers when you're not physically in person with them. And that was really so insightful. If you're talking to somebody who gives just okay service, how do you convince them to elevate that level, and how do they start doing that?
It's an excellent question. If I'm looking at the people around me and I say, you know what, we need to take it to the next level, then I'm going to tell you how you do it. Start talking about it. Start talking about it a lot. Um, Start modeling what you want them to do. Here's a tip, kids. If you are in a position of authority, If you have people that work under you, even if you have people that work for you or with you, you are a person of influence. And an organization cannot have two faces. We have to, you cannot have one face where it is a death hole organization that sucks the life out of me, and then I'm expected to go out and be positively outrageous service to the people that are giving us money. It doesn't work that way. You cannot have two faces. It must start within. And so we approach an organization and we say, okay, the first thing I want you to do, especially the people in the upper echelon, is start talking about it. Start talking about the importance of service, the importance of interaction, and use these words: influence. Our job is to influence, and everybody has their position of influence. The people in the front line do not have the influence to run the organization. That's not their job. But they have people in front of them every day, whether they're paying customers or whether you're my customer because I work with you. You're still getting things done with and through others, and so that takes an awareness. And so I want an organization to, number one, start talking about it. And number two, I'm going to encourage the upper echelon to start demonstrating the behaviors you want your people to do. I want you to play more. In other words, be more positive. I want thank you and appreciate off of your lips more. I want you to start looking for the things that really are positive in your place, and I want you to label it, and I want you to tell them, you did this great. Thank you for doing this. Because when it becomes aware of you, when you become aware of it and you start holding up the mirror to others, people start to go, oh, that's what you mean. Oh, that's what that particular means. Otherwise, we use big, broad brush terms like this is the Nordstrom way. Well, I have no idea what that means. But when you hold up a mirror and go, thank you for doing this. Do you see how you took the initiative? Thank you for going above and beyond. Thank you for being random and unexpected. Thank you for being out of proportion. In their mind, they go, I get what you're talking about. And you embolden me with specific behavior. So it really, that's what I would do with an organization. I would start with the top.
So tell us about the culture in a positively outrageous service company.
Well, I can tell almost immediately, and I know you can too, if a customer, if a company has a positively outrageous culture. Just walk into their office, walk into their store, walk into their restaurant, and you will feel immediately if they are for you. That's what service is all about. Everything that we do, whether it's the creation of products, the choices that we make in our marketing, in our products itself, in the packaging, that's a one type of experience. Then it's the interaction type of experience, and it all comes down to how I feel about me when I'm around you. You'll know it immediately. And so there, we've broken it down into 7 areas that I want you, when I work with an organization, I'm going to look at 7 areas in the beginning to see where you're at. Can I go through them real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay, number one is, who are you hiring? And you brought it up earlier at the last episode. Go check it out. It's a good episode. Service naturals. Are you hiring the right people in the right place? Not everybody has to be a people person, not everybody, but there are folks that are customer facing, that are people in influential positions. Are you hiring the right people? So are we hiring for service naturals in the key positions? Then I'm going to look at, let's start with the upper echelon, the leadership. Do they know how to champion a service culture? Excuse me. Do they know, are they equipped with what to do and what to say to champion and model what we want everybody else to do? So I will work with an organization's upper echelon to go, this is your role, kids. And then I'm going to work with the management, the people that get things done with and through others, because there are a set of tools in how we coach, how we set expectations, how we talk about improvement discussions or positively reinforcement discussions. In other words, I've got to not only tell people what we want them to do, but coach them. So that middle management needs to be coached with the skill sets of how to have those critical conversations to develop people. Then I'm going to look at your front line. What are you doing to train your people? What are you doing to give them the things to do and say that create an experience for their particular positions, and how we do customer service for the people that are working with us and the people that are working for us. And then I'm going to look at 2 things. I'm going to look at your continuous improvement, and I'm going to look at how you measure customer experience. So what are we doing to measure how we're doing it? Because what we measure, we will do, and there's lots of things to measure in place for our customer experience. And then how do we encourage a continuous improvement culture? And then the last one is how do we play? What are you doing on purpose to start off an initiative, to give them the tools to do the initiative, to provide the coaching once the initiative is started, to give the modeling that the coaching is aiming for, and then how do we celebrate the coaching? One of the things about culture that I love is culture is, I heard this definition once, it's not mine, but I love it. It's what we tolerate and what we celebrate. And I love that. Our culture is what we tolerate and what we celebrate. So you can have all the plaques on the wall, but if it's never acknowledged when I'm doing it, I'm going to call you on it, or I'm just going to get quiet about it and not do it. Or if you tell me to act one way and you're not calling people on it when they're not, that screams to me too. So I love that. What do we tolerate? Coaching. And what do we celebrate? When do we party? And the things that you bring focus to, people would do on purpose. So those are the 7 things that I would have an organization look at. And if there's softs in any of those areas, we can help you strengthen those areas, especially if we're going to roll out an initiative that gets people to go, 2026 is a year of differentiation. I'll give you an example if you want to hear one.
Let's take one quick break. And this is the end of segment 2. We're going to come back with Michael. I'd hope for this thing to be 15 or maybe 30 minutes. There are so many gold nuggets, we can't stop. And so we're going to take this break and we'll come back with yet another edition about positively outrageous service with our good friend, Michael Hoffman.